Hello, everyone. My name is Amy Mwaniki. I am an international student here at SFU, currently studying from abroad from my home country in Kenya. But I'm so honored and so excited and so privileged to be here in this conference and to be a presenter. And today I want to talk about something that I definitely think has affected each and every single one of us in some way, shape, or form, especially during this global pandemic that we are experiencing right now. And one thing that I believe that has greatly increased during this time is our screen time. We are all currently watching through a screen right now. We're always on our phones doing something, or maybe watching television for some of us. But specifically, I want to talk about our phones. I want to talk about the amount of time that we are spending on our phones. I want to start off by basically talking about the definition of screen time, right? And something that I've learned about this is that the definition of screen time varies a lot when we're talking about who is defining the word screen time. But in general, the amount of time that we allocate or occupy by a particular thing or specifically, our phones. And so why is the knowledge of screen time so important? I think we as consumers really need to understand how these companies like Instagram and Facebook use, you know, their definition of screen time, meaning this data that they're picking up. How do they use this data? Like, what are they, how are they defining screen time and what does it mean for us, right? And for the advertisers, why do advertisers need such information? Why do they need to know the amount of time that we're spending on our phones? And I think that is very, very important. And as users, again, we need to understand how we can use this information to our advantage, because these types of data that they collect with the screen time, the amount of time that you were spending, the types of questions that they ask, like how long can we get you to use our app? How long can we get you to use Instagram? Right? How long do you spend on Instagram? And during that span of time that you're usually on, are usually on during the afternoon, evening, or morning, and during that time we want to spam you with ads, because the company's business model is advertising. This is their main source of income. So with this, they really need to learn how much time you're spending and to exactly what you do during that time. How long are you spending taking to look at an ad? What we Zuboff defines as surveillance capitalism. When these people are pretty much looking at us all the time, and they're really focusing on what we do, where we go, and they're using this data to their advantage. And the thing is, we're giving it to them for free because it is a free app. We just download it and we use it. They don't pay us to use their apps. And they're still using the data that we give them to their advantage to gain profit. And that is their main aim. Their main aim is to exploit their users, to predict their users, and to sell their users. Because if you're not paying for the product, you are not the customer. The person who pays for the product is the customer, right? And so advertisers have been dreaming for such a time as this that unquestionably the ads would be successful. These types of data that they're collecting, that Instagram is collecting to give to the advertisers. Instagram's main aim is for you to engage with their app, for growth in the app usage, and for advertising. Again, the advertising model is their main source of income. And so Instagram is competing with all of these other applications, TikTok, Twitter, all of those, for your attention. they want you to spend as much time on Instagram more than Twitter or TikTok, and they're persuading you. I think of times when I get a notification, right, that says, oh, so and so is typing, or so and so has made a post, or so and so is live, right? I think that is very much part of the agenda to increase your screen time, to increase the chances for you to spend your time. Why is it that when we get a notification of someone's posted, why don't we see the picture in the notification, right? Because they want you to go into the app. They want you to go in and scroll through that timeline to see the ads that they want to feed you, right? And so why the screen time update? That's something that I've really been questioning. Why is it that out of nowhere, Instagram in the year 2018, they decided, you know what, you are going to be able to have access to the amount of time that you are spending on this app. And I think this is very important to think about, because why? Why is it that they want us to know this now? Because it is not so hard to think that this information was private before and recently just made it public, right? I think there is a reason behind this. And as much as they want to say, oh, it's because of mental health, because, a lot of people were complaining at the time, a lot of parents were complaining at the time that their teenagers, their kids are spending so much time on these applications, right? And on Instagram, right? And they're wondering like, how can we fix this? How can we do this? And if you go to Instagram's help center page, they talk about why they put this screen time, and they define it as, so it says, we want to show you ads from businesses that are interesting and relevant to you. And to do that, we must use information about what you do on Instagram and Facebook, as well as our activity on third-party sites and apps you use. Here we clearly see that Instagram does use this type of information so as to feed you specific ads that you want, relevant to you. And so I think it is time for us as consumers, us as users of this app, especially Instagram, that we need to take back control. Whereas this, again, let's not be complacent. Let's not be just content with, oh, it's an app they're giving me for free and I get to use it. Like, no, we really need to take back the control, and rather just about knowing the amount of time we're spending. Clearly, we see that their definition is what we do as well on the app that's important, right? And so you would ask me, how do we take back the control? How do we do that, Amy? And I think we need to be very mindful about what we do on the app. So I think we can put a hold to this by actively working towards change, but not just conforming to, but transforming the algorithm from the outside. For example, I, as a Black female Christian, right? I consciously do is like posts specifically towards what I like and what I want. Instagram will now have to look for those Black businesses, look for those Black brands, and feed them to me, because I want to support Black businesses. I want to support Black female influencers, right? And so I want them to feed me that. I don't want them just to feed me what they think or want me to take in. I want them to feed me my Black content, my Black influencers, my female influencers, my Christian content, right? And so I want to thank you guys so much for listening in. I hope it was time well spent.